I'm going to get out of your way, but we really, and I hope you guys are enjoying. We wanted to pull in some of the folks who know Mylio best, so that's our test team. They spend more time with Mylio than anyone on the planet, and they know the program inside and out. So they've just had some great gems. We've heard from Tim already, and Polina and Andrew, and now we're going to hear from Irving. So I'll let Angela and Irving catch up.
Hey, Irving, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here and taking the time. I know you've been really busy and
hmm
helping us get this amazing launch off the ground. And I would love to know what you've discovered in Mylio Photos that are some of your favorite features. Maybe talk a little bit about copying and pasting,
hmm
and just tell us some of those hidden gems that you've encountered.
Yeah. So one of the things that I thought I actually don't take a whole lot of pictures myself, but something that happens when you use social media is that you'll encounter a lot of media that people send you. Or for me, I'm a really heavy Facebook user. I also use my phone a lot, and that generally means that my photos are going to be saved in the cloud. So I have two sources, two cloud sources essentially. I have a Facebook and I have a Google Photos. And something I noticed that when I started using Mylio is that it'll walk me through the process of exporting those photos onto Mylio. But if you're anything like me, especially if you're a heavy Messenger user, you're going to be sending a lot of photos that are not necessarily photos. Like you'll get the occasional meme, or you see something witty or funny. One of the fun things about being able to import your photos from the cloud is two things. One, you can once everything's imported, Mylio makes it really easy for you to go through and tag with like a color tag each one, to kind of pick out the ones that you really care about or the things that stand out to you. And another thing is that when you're importing Mylio from social media, not all social media has this, but you might miss things like face tagging, or just being able to identify some of the people in your photos. And as you're going through, for example, like a Google import, you might have taken a bunch of photos and you don't really look back at them like ever. But another thing is that they also come dated, and if your GPS is enabled at the time that you're taking your photo, you might be able to look it up on the Maps view under Mylio. So in allowing me to do this, going down memory lane is is a very explorative process. And I think that's probably one of the cooler things, is because I don't really think about myself as a photographer, but I am a person and I have experiences, and occasionally I bring out the camera and I want to save those experiences, even if I never look through them again. So in a weird way, Mylio has given me this perspective. It's allowed me to see the value of the things that I take for granted, honestly. And so that for me, whether or not is like a hidden tip or whatever, it's more or less been my experience for me personally. In terms of copy paste, one of the things that I believe, so when I first heard about copy paste as a tester, I was a little bit confused, because I thought, oh, does Mylio not already do this? And it's not that Mylio is incapable or anything like that. It's more or less that the way we do a copy paste is in fact more of like a streamlined version of an export. And what this means is that from when you import something into Mylio, so let's say, for example, I've imported my Facebook library recently because I actually deleted my Facebook. Now I use WhatsApp. So now I have a lot of pictures from Facebook that were on my album, some stuff that I was on Messenger. So now I want to do something as simple as I just want to share it to somebody because I think it's funny today. So for example, if I wanted to share something with my wife, I literally just Control C or copy, and I can paste it into a web browser or an app the same way you would normally with any other photo. And whatever is happening in the background is really just going through that export process and putting it on the web browser, making it really easy for you to share those photos on other applications.
Yeah, I found that it really is a cool new feature. So I played with it a little bit. It's like, okay, where will it let me paste this image? So I copied an image from Mylio and I was like, all right, let me paste this into a Pages document. So that's the word processor on Mac. If you use Microsoft Word, whatever your word processor is, I was able to grab a picture and paste it in there. So if you're putting together a family newsletter or, whatever document you need, or you need to pop in a pretty picture into a PowerPoint presentation or a keynote presentation, you can easily copy and paste into that. And then I was like, okay, what about putting it into a web browser? Let's say into Google Docs. That worked great. And then I took it a little farther and I was like, okay, I have a WordPress blog. I was able to copy and paste into my WordPress. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
It saves so much time.
Yeah, some of the things that I'm considering doing outside of my main 9 to 5 is something more along the lines of social media outreach. Not outreach. I'm really just trying to get something of a stream going on, and I'm going to be recording a bunch of videos. I'm not particularly afraid of doing copy paste with videos. But it's something that I also want to organize as well. If I want to get something in from one area to the next, I know I can simply rely on a simple copy paste to do that, especially even however big the files, or hopefully not too many, and then just making that process super convenient. Some of the other things
more streamlined than having to export to a folder, then locate that folder and upload, or drag and drop from there. It just makes it so much easier. And this is possible on mobile too. It has been for a long time via the share sheet. So if you go to the export share button on mobile, you can use the built-in OS in Android or iOS to copy and paste. So that's been there a while, but to do this on a computer is brand new.
Yeah, on a computer, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
From Mylio.
Oh, yes. In the context of Mylio, yes, it is definitely new functionality and very, very helpful. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I hadn't actually gotten my video, my personal library totally organized yet. But as you can see, some of what I was talking about earlier, Facebook has found a ton of media, throughout all this stuff. And some of it is not stuff that I really want to share. Unfortunately, I don't know why that's there, and I apologize for any weird stuff that might be on there. But a lot of what I did find was pictures of my cat. And so if I like to bring this up here, and some I've already went by and filtered out. You can see that a lot of these have already been tagged with like a green, with this green tag here. And I just went through whatever I thought was amusing, whatever was funny, and stuff that I might share with my wife later. I believe my wife took the picture of this at some point with her Nikon camera and shared a JPEG with me. Here's something to do with a with Baby Yoda and chicken nuggets. But yeah, so this is part of what I was doing when I was going through the process of importing here. And then in this specific case, I didn't use this because I had actually already exported all my stuff out of Facebook. But if you need to export stuff out of your Google Photos library, it'll give you instructions, and then it will basically tell you to go through and then kind of guide you through the process of doing all that, and eventually ask you to go through, find wherever it is that your Google Takeout stuff is, and then import it into Mylio. So that process is done. I haven't filtered out any of those photos yet, but that's something that I will plan on doing in the near future. Just trying to get through all of these. And again, I personally, I don't know like what some of the like I don't know where I'm going to be sharing these again. So for me, whenever I want to copy something and I want to share something, I actually haven't shared these to my wife yet. At the time when I was taking these photos, I had bought this ring for her, and then it was going to be a surprise. And I hadn't shared any of these photos yet with her, so I can go ahead and plan to do that. Either through using this copy here, the short or the shortcut. In this case, I'm just showing the GUI so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. And hopefully, it looks like my screen is not being shared all the way.
You might have just shared the app window.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. Here we go. Okay, so you should see my whole screen now, yeah?
Yep.
Cool, so we can go, let's make a new folder here. Copy, paste, test. And I apologize, but it looks like my computer is really getting stressed out here. But let's see, hopefully this all works out fine. Yeah,
So far,
looks
so
like
good.
everything
Yeah,
worked out just
great.
fine. So again, this.
Yeah, and I pushed this to the limit the other day. I had a whole bunch of images I wanted to use in a presentation. I copied and pasted 200 pictures right into a keynote presentation. But here's the secret. When you're copying and pasting, they start loading. So if you're copying a lot of pictures, hit copy and then just kind of like sing row, row, row your boat. Like if you're copying 200 pictures, because they're going 1, 2, 3. Because if you paste, that's when it stops the copy. So if you copied a really big list, let it queue them all up first before you, and you can switch over and then do the paste. But theoretically, the only limit is the amount of RAM that you have. So I don't want to see, like, we don't need to have a death match of who can copy and paste or move things around the most, but it is useful. And then you brought up the share menu, Irving, which is great. Is there anything else that you think is a hidden gem? And then we're going to go to Angela and take a look at some of her editing tips. Is there anything you like to use in Mylio that helps you?
For me, Mylio is, and it is a little bit hidden, but it's not something that I'm familiar with testing quite yet, and that is the ad hoc feature. Now, that is not something that unfortunately I have any familiar with, but something that I would rely heavily on. If I relied heavily on Mylio and I have a bunch of computers, I believe the ad hoc feature will allow me to essentially sync up any computers locally. So if I have a laptop and I have a desktop in the other room or whatever, but for whatever reason my internet connection down, but my equipment is itself fine, I should still be able to connect to that. Now I can set up an ad hoc
absolutely.
network.
That's what's happening here. So all my computers that are turned on at home are talking to each other, and nothing is hitting the internet. And so if I wake my phone up and have Mylio launched in the foreground, they're going to connect and it will pop up. So devices can keep talking to each other over your home network. And if you're traveling, we actually give you instructions under the settings menu. You can go under your settings and you can actually create a network, and you can go under sync, and there's the ability. Oh gosh, where do we put that, Angela? I'm forgetting. You create a way to connect the different accounts that you can set up a device to device network. Where's that?
Yeah, it's called a Mylio hotspot. So I'm grabbing the link right now from the manual. I'll put that into the chat for everybody.
Yeah. So if you go over to sync, you can control that, and you can use a hotspot, and there's our sync settings, and you can do that. You'll also see we added a new control for sync if you're using mixed security protocol networks. So sometimes if you're like at a hotel, they use a different type of security, or they might be using an older Wi-Fi, which is the IPv4, and we support the newer security protocol. So now you can mix those together if needed, and you can turn off cloud syncing temporarily. So you've got all that. But Angela shared information about how to use the hotspot, which lets you connect 2 devices or more to each other.
Yep. Yeah, that is a really cool feature.
Yeah, that one is something that I'm going to be exploring and will heavily rely on in the event that my internet is no longer reliable. So I'm actually kind of thankful for that.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
Irving, thank you for joining us today and sharing some cool tips. And you got the other dad joke in. You were talking about hidden gems, and you had hidden gems on the screen. I don't know if that was on purpose, but you and JC both managed to sneak a dad joke into the show. So good job.
Awesome. No
great.
idea if it was intentional, but I'm glad I could help.
That was excellent. Thanks for joining us today. And
Yep.
Angela's going to do some power editing tips now.